Hello and welcome to episode number 24 of the Nintendo Jump Podcast. We are a weekly discussion podcast created for Nintendo gamers by Nintendo gamers. It is finally Smash Week. It's the week of December 3rd, and my name is Daryl, and today I'm joined once again by Kevin.
What's good, everybody?
And Sergio.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
All right, so I am dying in anticipation, but we're going to talk about some other things that we've been playing this week, as well as a couple listener mails, and just have a nice, fun conversation as we're all kind of anxiously awaiting the gigantic release of Smash Brothers. So let's just get on into it, shall we? So,
Yes.
First things first, we're going to talk about a review of a game that we actually got from a man named Fred Wood. His game is called Kuso. He was nice enough to actually send us a review code, so we wanted to actually talk about it. I know, Sergio, you've been playing that. What are your initial thoughts?
Oh, initial thoughts are very positive. You know, it's a $5 game and it's short. You can beat it in 2 hours or so. But other than that, like I think that's my only negative. The rest is really good. It's very similar to or BBB.
What?
So it's just like that. It's a really good platformer, good challenge, really good music, very good tight controls. It's all there. It's really nice. And so just to go into a little more detail, you're actually kind of able to set the difficulty that you want because you're able to place like a spot or like a teleport location where you respawn, basically, if you happen to die. And if you want to, I mean, if you're crazy, you can try to beat every stage without setting a respawn point if you wanted to. Or you could do one every safe platform, kind of like I did. So it's up to you, the difficulty. And yeah, there's a lot of stages and it's really good.
So, is there like a high score that you can get? Like, say if you don't use those respawn points, do you get like a better score or a better ending? Like, what's the catch?
No, I don't believe so. That's really more up to for you to set the difficulty. You know, if you want to make it harder on yourself, just set one or maybe two or maybe none. As far as there's really no high score. It's really more of a beat the levels or like a speed running type of thing.
So I will say, based on Sergio's initial talks about this game, I actually went out and bought it too. So I'll have some thoughts in a second. But Sergio, I cut you off there. Keep going.
No problem. So as far as collectibles or like hidden items, I only found one, but that was kind of towards the end of the game, and I was actually thinking there's probably none. So the fact that I found one near the end kind of makes me wonder if I missed others. So I probably did.
Probably. Yeah, so kind of jumped into it a little quickly. This game is called Kuso, Kuso. It came out just a couple weeks ago at this point. Again, it's one of our favorite type of games, developed by basically one guy. It is his second game. It's the follow-up of a game called Love. Interesting little fact is the name Kuso in Japanese, that actually means crap. So initially I would say that he's underselling his game a little bit, but it is kind of an affectionate homage to the term kusoge, which is kind of crap game, which is kind of like this. It's not actually meant as poor quality. It's just like frustratingly hard at times. And honestly, I didn't yes, this game is hard and it is difficult to get through the levels, but like Sergio was saying, with the checkpoints, you can place them anywhere that's safe. So in general, you can get through these challenges fairly quickly, just with a little, trial and error and repeating. And I really enjoyed the game. Like, I really did. I thought for a simple $5 game, and like Sergio mentioned, it is short. It's actually quite short. I thought it was very well done. Like, start to finish, I had a lot of fun with it. With that time frame being, like you said, a couple hours or so.
Right.
The one thing I do want to say is, yes, there is a high score system, and it's not necessarily tied to numbers, but I played through. So I did it twice. I played through the initial game, just Kuso, and then this game actually includes, I believe he said, all the levels from Love, or
Yes,
or at least most of them, that you can play you can either play all the levels from Kuso, all the levels from Love, or a combination of the two, which is something like 40, 41, 42 levels.
Right.
Wow.
And you can play them all. So I did. I played all the levels of Kuso, and then I played all the levels of Kuso and Love back to back. And both times I got through it once, and I got an F rating. And I still felt a little good about myself, But there is some replay there for what it's rating you on is how quickly you do it, how many deaths you have, and how many checkpoints you place. So to get the highest ranks, you would have to not place very many checkpoints,
wow.
if any. So this is definitely one of those scalable difficulty games. Like, you can make it about as hard as you on yourself as you want to.
Right.
So I got a question. Is it
Yeah.
a good kind of hard? Like, are the controls really tight? Is it really good platforming? Because I feel like with platformers, I mean, there's a different kind of difficulty depending on what game you're talking about. Like, does it feel good when you jump to different platforms and stuff? So
Yeah, definitely. It's very tight. It flows really well. It's not. It's the kind of challenging that it's not like randomized. It's all patterns. You recognize the patterns. So basically, it's trial and error. So it's really good. It's not unforgiving or unfair.
Yeah, when you die, you definitely you did it to yourself. Like,
Right.
there's really no real randomness. It's definitely generated. There are some very tricky sections where a couple mechanics are kind of working simultaneously, and getting through both of them is a little difficult.
Yeah.
But I'll say that none of the game felt unfair. The controls were extremely tight. Like, I knew exactly where I was going to be the entire time. Also want to take a step back. So if you look at this game and the presentation of it, it's a very, very simple looking game. Like, the main character is, half a dozen or 10 pixels or so. It's not that much.
Yeah.
But I'll say, in animation, the way he runs and the way the levels move and stuff, I kind of love the way this game looks in
Yes.
kind of an odd way. It is really simplistic, but I really like how it looks. And I can't really describe that other than, watch a trailer and you'll kind of see what I mean. When he's running, it's like just a cool little animation, and I like it.
Yeah, I'm actually watching the trailer right now on Steam, and I know what you're talking about. It just looks nice. It's, the person moving, jumping back and forth in between platforms. I mean, it's a pretty pleasing person to watch, I would say. So,
Right.
yeah, maybe I should get it too. I mean, for $5, heck yeah. I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and part of the presentation too includes the music, and to me that was one of the highlights of the game. So, we said like there's 40 something stages. Each one has a different song in it, and they're all so good. There's a good amount of variety, but there's a lot of like hip hop loops or beats,
Mhm.
and they have this like crackling binaural pop sound to them. So it's really, really good. And for those interested, the soundtrack is actually available on Bandcamp, so you're able to download it.
You sold me on hip hop. I'm down.
But no, I mean, so definitely shout outs to Fred Wood. Wanted to give this game a little bit of a spotlight because, in the over the way too many Switch games out there, this one kind of just released, and I saw him posting around. He was excited about the game, and he definitely should be. The game is awesome, and for $5, I would definitely recommend it to anybody who likes a challenge, or just kind of a nail biting platformer type game. It's hard. It's not unreasonably hard, and it's just a fun time for me.
Yeah,
Nice.
for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So thanks again to Fred. Really, really cool guy.
Yeah.
So now we're actually going to move on to another game that I think all three of us actually got and have been playing in various stages. And frankly, this game kind of blew me away this year. I had heard some really good things about it, but didn't realize at all how good it actually was going to be. And of course, I am talking about The Messenger.
Yeah.
So, Kevin, you want to kick us off on this one?
Yeah, sure. So, The Messenger is an action-adventure platformer / Metrovania in the second half of the game. It's a tribute to retro gaming. It's a really awesome platformer. I feel like it does, the controls are really tight. It feels nice controlling the main character. It's pretty much like one part Ninja Gaiden, one part Shinobi, and another part Shovel Knight, as what Kat Bailey from US Gamer would describe.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
Yeah. So I quote her because I think that's the best way to describe it. And so the first part of the game, it's just an 8-bit platformer, and it's pretty much very linear. You're going through stages, and you're meeting all these different types of characters, and at some point in the game, it becomes a Metroidvania type of game where you have to, go through the stages again, but in 16-bit. So it's gonna be like in the story, you travel 500 years in the future, and then you go back and forth in between the past and the future to, accomplish to accomplish the goal at hand and get these different items back and forth. And yeah, like I think the music is pretty awesome. It's invigorating. You feel like part of the action. You feel like you just want to dance a little bit, but but not too much. And uh, but the thing that I really love about this game, not just the platforming, is the dialogue.
oh
So
yeah.
besides the fact that there's that, if that what Corbo, that thing, that character that comes in after you die, like if you just pretty much if you get to a point where you die, then it'll have this character will have some sort of like message for you. Sometimes it's sassy, it's funny, it's like, oh
Usually
hey, like,
taunting you.
pretty yeah, usually taunting you, but it's all good, and uh doesn't get it doesn't go over the line. But
Oh
then
no.
my favorite is actually the blue robe person. Like when you go into the store, and you know like every time you go into a store and you want to check out some more dialogue, or excuse me, you want to know more about like the story, or just some sort of like any tidbits that he can give you, you know, he'll just talk about these stories that happen. And then I actually sent you guys screenshots of this. There was one story in particular where after he finished the story, the blue robe guy was like, "So there you have it. Happiness is not a goal or a state; it's a system. You optimize your environment and cherry pick the people around you, so that every day you're just stoked to live your own life, and you don't need to defer any joys because you optimize the present moment." And that really spoke to me, and I did not even expect that, because I guess in my own life that's what I've always tried to do. Now I could add something to this too, where like, yes, it's good to cherry pick the people around you that matter in your life, but it's also important that the people that you cherry pick reciprocate the same feelings, and I think that's really important to have when you want to be accepted, and when you want to feel loved, and just have that friendship carry you for the rest of your life. So kudos to that. Like the dialogue is great.
Yeah, I think the game kind of follows. It's definitely trying to be a throwback to Ninja Gaiden, and I'll say it does a really good job at it, to the point that the Shovel Knight comparison is spot on. Like it does a
Yeah.
really good job of throwing a lot of very similar mechanics, but also really expanding on those. Like just for instance, like if you jump in the air and you attack somebody, an enemy with your sword or a lantern or something that's there, then it gives you your jump back midair, and they I forget exactly what they call it, but basically you jump, attack, and then you can jump again.
Oh,
Mhm.
That alone leads to some amazing little platforming sections within the game. Also, they give you like this flying squirrel type suit, like so you can actually kind of glide around a little bit.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
a ton of upgrades that you can buy with the money that you find in the game. So, from an actual like action platforming standpoint, spot on.
Mm.
Really, really well done. In terms of kind of paying tribute and also innovating the genre, as it were.
Mhm.
And then on top of that, they've got some really interesting dialogue, both really funny at times. Like there's a lot of wink and nods. This game is definitely one of those games that understands it is a video game. Like there are overt references to Ninja Gaiden and then Metroid and
Right. Yeah.
other things. Like it's there, but it's not the cringy level of tongue in cheek. It's just kind of
nice.
it's just kind of I am a video game, and that's awesome. But also like Kevin's kind of alluding to, the shopkeeper character. One, he never lies to you, and I love that, because he's kind of a sarcastic character, but he always tells you exactly what's going to happen. Just kind of it is kind of in a tongue in cheek way, and it's hilarious. He never lies. He also tells you, like, one of the chat options with him every time you find him is tell me a story, and
Right.
all of those stories are kind of like odd twists on like standard stories. Like there's a Princess and the Pea story where she's searching for the prince who can feel the pea under all the mattresses, and then they realize that he's just too picky of a guy, and it turns, all the stories kind of turn introspective and funny, but also kind of touching. Also, if you do, like, there's this this cabinet that's just sitting in the room. If you go try to check it, he'll tell you probably 20 times if you try it with different dialogue. Hey, don't touch that. Hey, don't touch that. If you touch that again, I'm gonna go into this long philosophical rant. And honestly, when it does happen, the rant that he goes off onto makes it's awesome. Like, it's really cool dialogue. It's really well spoken and such. So, like, there's a lot of surprises in this game just from the characterization. I really ended up liking all of the characters that you came across. I really liked. I'm not at all going to spoil any of the story beats. We kind of quote unquote spoiled the switch to the Metroidvania type game, but I'll say that was also in the initial trailers, so it's not really on us. But initially the game kind of plays like a level by level Ninja Gaiden, and then it opens up to where you can kind of go between the areas more. And there's kind of these warp points where you can go between old times and new times, and it kind of does this traditional double world, puzzle solving technique. But I'll say it's interesting because all of the stuff that you're traversing was in the levels originally. You just couldn't access it for various reasons. So it's neat to go back through the areas and kind of go on. I don't know. I came out of this game really liking it, and I ended up just kind of binging it over a weekend, and I ended up beating it. And it's definitely, I mean, it's going to be in the game of the year contention with me. It's way up there on my list.
Wow.
So, Sergi, I know you got it. Have you played it much?
No, unfortunately, I haven't had a chance, but I looked at a gameplay, right? At a trailer, and I wanted to see gameplay first and foremost. And as soon as I saw it, it was an instant H yes for me. So I downloaded it, and
Yes.
I had no idea. I had no idea that it was part Metroid and that the dialogue and the story were so important to the game and it's such a big part of it. So I'm even more excited, man. I kind of wish Smash was later, but no, not really.
Oh yeah.
Don't say that.
No.
Don't you put that evil out there.
Uh-oh. Well, I really like the fact that, Daryl, you talked about the cabinet, and I mean I think it's just one of the habits as a gamer where you want to just exhaust any remaining dialogue that the shopkeeper would give you, and you just keep nudging and nudging to see what he would say. And so I think that's just something that I think plays to nostalgia too. Like when I was a lot younger, I always wanted to talk to everybody, every NPC I would see, and see what he or she had to say. So I think it's a good tribute to that. And yeah, I'd say it's a highly recommended game. I was very fortunate, like the both of you, where got it around Black Friday, and it was a really good deal. And I mean, even without the deal, like for $20, I think it's a pretty good price for a game that can give a lot of joy.
You could do a lot worse for $20.
Right? Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, definitely go get it. The Messenger. It is an awesome game, and yeah, I still have to finish. I have a few things left I have to do, but yeah, I'm on my way. So.
And for anybody who's a little worried about this, it's honestly, it's not the hardest game in the world. Like,
no,
it's really not. Like, if you think back to Ninja Gaiden, that actually is a very hard game, right?
Yeah.
This one I wouldn't really put at that level of difficulty for most of the game. It does ramp up a little bit at the end, but at that point, it's already taught you a lot about the game, so it's not intimidating to jump into. Like, the first few levels are actually really simple, just to kind of run through, and they're enjoyable. It's a lot of fun. But don't be intimidated by it trying to play homage to a really hard old game. I only had a couple negatives that kind of keep it down just a little bit. One is you do traverse the same kind of annoying areas a few times, and that starts grating on you at the end of the game. And then two, some of the controls, like it controls really, really well, but some of the just choices they made, like putting the glider function on the jump button. So when you jump and attack something, it gives you your jump back. So then you can't use your glider immediately. It makes it feel like I don't really know what I'm doing, and you kind of panic sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Really not a big deal. I want to emphasize I really, really enjoyed the game, but those were the two comments I had for it.
Yeah, no, those are fair points. I think for me, I don't know, like I think there's just times where like when I'm in the second part where, yeah, like you said in the Metrovania style, like there's just parts where I'm just like, oh, okay, well I've been there. I'm like, yeah, it somewhat feels like routine, but at the same time, like I'm so happy to find those power seals that I'm trying to get,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
and the music notes, and yeah, I think I would agree with your points on that, and yeah, I don't really know what else I would say about the Messenger. I think it's just an all around good game. And yeah, definitely not that difficult and worth $20 to get it. So
Nice.
Nice.
So yeah, definitely recommend that. And with that, we're actually going to jump into a larger discussion topic for the week. And what we're going to talk about this week is, so with Smash coming out in particular, and we just happen to be recording this on the 17th anniversary of Melee releasing in the US. So yay.
yo, that is
Uh,
awesome.
yeah. So Smash, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Smash is extremely good at you being able to make up your own particular rule sets. So, various game modes that you can make, with, we're only going to play with home run bats and we're only going to be able to use them. And that's it. And it's just kind of this playground style. So we started thinking, what are some other games that we've made some self-made rule sets just for whatever reason to increase challenge or just to play it the way we want to play? What are some rule sets that you have made up for games you're playing? And I'm going to start, I think, with Sergio.
Sure, and I'm going to start with my number one series, Animal Crossing.
There we go.
So for those familiar or those that are not, so in Animal Crossing, it's like a real time game, and whenever you're playing, like today is December 3 in real life, that's the same time in the game, but you're actually able to change it. You're able to change the time of the game that you're going to be playing at each time you're playing. It's basically called time traveling, and that's pretty much that's literally what it is. So there are a couple of downsides to doing that. A couple of items could go bad, or some of your villagers might move away without really giving notice because you're time traveling. Let's say you wanted to skip ahead to a holiday or to your birthday, or just to speed up how your town develops.
Mhm.
You're able to do that, but like I said, there's a couple of downsides. And my personal rule, and also for our friend of the show Chewy, and for a lot of Animal Crossing fans, it's time traveling is a big no-no. Definitely not.
Whoa.
Because most of us prefer to be patient. We play the game as it comes. The good stuff is gonna come when it's here, and there's always something good to look forward to, even if it's not a big holiday or a big event. So we'll get there. But yeah, I always remember that time traveling is a no-no, for at least for Animal Crossing fans.
Fair enough.
So does that? I have to imagine then that just makes things like logging in on Christmas and birthdays and things a little bit more memorable, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So do you do this for every Animal Crossing game? So ever since the first one, or is it something that you decided to do like later on in the series?
No, ever since the first one, you always had that option. But even I think some of the like the initial previews for the games, they tell you of the couple of things that could be bad, and that alone like turned me off of it. And I
Mm,
realized, yeah, it's better to wait.
And you have to do it kind of a
gotcha.
weird way. Generally, you have to change your entire system clock to make it
Right.
work because
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
just reading off whatever your DS says or whatever you're playing it on has said.
mhm.
So in order to change it, it's a bit of a ordeal. So as soon as that occurs in a game, it kind of turns me off a little bit.
Now, an interesting workaround to that some people do is they have two towns. They have the regular real-time one, and then one where they allow themselves to time travel, and that's fine.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's pretty hardcore.
So what are the benefits for doing that? Just getting the items that you need, or what exactly?
Yeah, getting to the more interesting days, if you will, and also speeding up how, because the more you play, the more amenities or the more places in your town that are unlocked. So if you want to get them all faster, you could time travel.
I mean, that's cool.
Mhm.
If given the opportunity in real life, I'd probably try time traveling. But that's just if you don't want to, if you want to, be with your friends and your town and stuff, that's good too, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, but time traveling is such a, I mean, it's just such a universal, like, interesting thing to do. I mean, like, how can you not? But I mean, at the same time, like, it's, I guess it's just depends on what you want to put in the game. So,
I also just came up with a pitch for the Switch version of
oh,
Animal Crossing.
Oh.
what would it be?
Animal Crossing Days of Future Past. So
Whoa.
Oh.
yeah. So
Yo,
actually
Days
build
of Future Past.
build time traveling into a mechanic, so you can go back and meet the dinosaur villagers, and then you can go to the future and meet the alien villagers, and then you can like bring
Oh.
them all to your time. And oh yeah, just
Oh.
just embrace the mechanic.
Oh,
Oh
very,
man, I would.
very anachronistic. Ooh.
Bet you can't get that on the Haken podcast.
Oh, whoa, dang.
Shout outs to
Uh,
Chewy.
Shout out to Chewy and the Haken Podcast. Definitely give them a listen. They are awesome. So, yeah.
Nice, man. Now I want that.
yeah.
There
After
we
saying
go.
it, that does actually sound kind of awesome. All right, Kevin. What's your first game you want to talk about?
All right. Y'all know what's coming. Call of Duty. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. It's not Call of Duty. It's.
Aw.
I need to stop saying that, but no. But for real though, it's actually Pokemon. Now I know what y'all thinking. Is it the Nuzlocke mode, which is it's a Nuzlocke challenge, which means it's like a way to provide a more difficult way to play Pokemon, where, for example, if a Pokemon faints, it's considered dead and you can't use it ever. But I didn't do that. I pretty much played Pokemon, especially with the first like few generations, where I would just pretend that like I'm like in the anime, and I don't use any potions. I don't use any like the X attack, X special, or whatever. Like, I just one-on-one, gun-on-gun, just like it sounds like, I don't know why it sounds like Call of Duty, but I go with the Pokemon I got, and I just try to tough it out. Don't use any potions. Don't use any cures. If my Pokemon is paralyzed, so be it. If it's frozen, oh well.
Nice.
Tough bleep. You know what I'm saying? So I did that for the first, like I said, the first several generations, and I just thought it was a great experience to, just to play, because I think if you use potions, it's kind of like a cop out. And also, I never use legendary Pokemon when I play, against the gyms
Oh.
or whatever, or Leaf Force, just because I just thought it was too cheap, man. I'm like, bruh, I'm not gonna use legendary Pokemon. I'm like Ash Ketchum or Kevin Ketchum. I don't know, but anyway, so I just played as if I were a regular trainer trying to be the very best and never was. And yeah, if I caught Articuno, Moltres, or Zapdos, put them in the box. Can't use them because I am a realistic Pokemon trainer. I'm not going to use any legendary Pokemon. So yeah, that was just my thing. And I just thought it was a great experience. And it didn't make the game super difficult. It was just like, it was a realistic challenge. And especially with Red and Blue, I mean, or Blue in my case, because that was the version I got in that situation. So yeah, I just love playing it that way, and you're thinking, well, Kevin, what about all the potions and the cures that you stocked up? I'm like, well, I just sold it. I mean, more money
Nice.
for me. So, and oh, and no rare candies. Now, I did that for. There was one exception though. I did use rare candies, but it was only for a Pokemon that I would never use in battle. It was part of the whole Missing No sort of thing. You guys remember that back in
Yes.
the Missing
Yep.
No? Yeah. So that's the only time I used rare candies. Other than that, no rare candies, because that's cheap, and it just no, just don't use them, because you're a real Pokemon trainer, man. You gotta play by the rules, or at least my rule. So, but I'm sure I'm not the only person who played this way. I think other people did too, like as if they were Ash Ketchum or, So, yeah. And then I did think about one point where I would play as a gym leader, where I just use all water Pokemon, and I did at one point, but like with very mixed results. Because then, I mean, especially when I play with a couple people online, I mean, they just use like electric attacks all day. So I'm like, all right, I think I'm good. but I do remember our homie Dragon did talk about how there are certain ways to use an all like one type team and still be able to survive even using water Pokemon. And there's ways to work around the electric attacks. So with Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, I'm considering doing that. Because I want to be like Wallace from what is it, the Elite Four? Or he was a gym leader too. So gotta be a water Pokemon master. Yeah, because I love water Pokemon. I mean, it's just one of my favorite things in Pokemon. So that's just how I feel about. Yeah,
Nice.
so that's how I would play it. But I do understand that, like I said before, there's the Nuzlocke mode. It is very challenging. I haven't tried it myself, but I have heard from YouTubers and watching some of their videos and like some other people that I used to know. They play it that way, and it is super challenging and rewarding when you accomplish being the Pokemon master in that game. So that's my take.
Nice. You know what? Just really quickly, you kind of inspired me because I'm also a big fan of Pokemon. Another thing is the shift versus set mode.
Yes. Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
So
it's like. Go ahead.
yeah. So basically, when you're battling, right, and you beat one of your opponent's Pokemon, if you play, I think it's the standard, like the default mode, the game tells you, oh, your opponent is gonna choose Blastoise. You want to change your Pokemon. That's cheating. That's not gonna happen in real life.
Yeah, I know, but hold up though. I mean, like Ash Ketchum, he would switch his Pokemon. I mean, at times. So I was like, all right, I guess it's not that big of a deal. But I guess I guess in retrospect, you're right. It is somewhat cheating because
No, I'm gonna be the ref on this one. So
Okay.
I would say it is cheating unless you have a psychic type Pokemon on your team who can tell you what the opponent trainer is gonna do. Go catch one of them and then you can react to it. Otherwise, you just gotta sit still.
All right, that's fair. Yeah, but no, I mean,
It's genius.
yeah, that's all right. That just made my day. But shift and set. So yeah, because then when you don't switch your Pokemon, you're like a gym leader basically. And I don't know, like I don't know if it's just me, but like it just feels good to feel like to play as if you were a gym leader. I don't know, like there's just some sort of pride, right? Like I'm a water Pokemon master. I'm a rock type master. I don't know, stuff like that. So
Oh, and one last thing, turn off experience share when you can.
oh
That's what I used to do.
oh yeah, I don't use experience share.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Good.
So it's confirmed Sergio does not believe in growing as a team.
No.
It's nice to know that after 24 episodes.
It's all good. I mean, everybody's got the way of playing Pokemon. I mean, it's all love. So, man. Anyway.
Okay. So with me, I'm kind of I'm I'm messed up when I play games. Like when I play platformers, I am an extreme completionist on things, and I try to fight that as much as possible. So I'll use like just a standard Mario game. If I'm playing any Mario game, let's call it I don't know, Mario Galaxy or New Super Mario Brothers or whatever. There's always some sort of MacGuffin you're supposed to get in the stages aside from the main goal. Like the main goal might be to get to the end of the stage, but also there's 3 star coins in there, and you got to get those 3 star coins to truly complete the level. So what I started doing, and it's been healthier for me recently, is when I miss one, I just miss one, and that's it. And I'll go through the rest of the game, and then I'll come back to that level. And then I will go get the actual things that I missed. But what I used to do is, if I saw a coin on a scrolling level and I couldn't get it or whatever, well, off the cliff I go, And I realized pretty quickly that is not that's just kind of brute forcing the game, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to, go on, complete the game, and then come back to that level, and I can appreciate that level all over again. So I am now the person who just lets things go, and it's painful every time, but I do it.
You know what? I wish I had that mentality when I play Fire Emblem, because I cannot let a character die.
We're gonna get to Fire Emblem.
Oh my god! I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's we're gonna end this with Fire Emblem.
Okay. All right. All right. Anyway.
And then
Nice, man. I don't know how you do it, because it's tough because you missed it, and you're familiar with the level already, so you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna try this now. But
Right.
at the same time, you make a good point. You're adding more value to the game for sure.
Mhm.
And it's kind of cool. I noticed it with New Super Mario Brothers. One of the Van Gogh painted levels, I actually missed something, and then I beat the game. The main part of the game. And I came back to get that one. I'm like, man, this level is awesome. All over again. So
Nice.
I think it's the healthier way to do things, but it definitely is difficult in the moment. Then kind of flip the spectrum. So in RPGs, RPGs always give you some sort of permanent stat boosting items, like this item grants one of your characters speed up, right?
Mhm.
Well, I never, like, especially in RPGs, I never know which character's gonna need that at the end of the game, so I get like petrified about using it, so I just stockpile them. And that's my boosters for the end of the game when one character's really trailing, or as I'm going into the final boss, I'm just like, well, guess what? I'm 20 points more powerful now. But I can't. That's an area where I'm a little messed up, and I can't bring myself to use them ahead of time because I don't. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
So those are a couple of my quirks. I'm going to get into a couple fun smash roll sets just for people. But before I do that, and then we're probably going to end with Fire Emblem, I think.
Yeah.
Before I do that, what else do you guys have?
Ooh, man. I mean, I just got the Ash Ketchum version playing Pokemon, and or that's what I
cool.
call it.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem was the biggest one, but I wanted to talk about that later because I was like, okay, well, this is like that's gonna be the grand finale. I think I guess it depends on the game. Like, like even with like a game like the first Donkey Kong Country, like I always have to get I have to get everything in one run. Everything. Like,
so you're the opposite of me.
I'm the opposite. Yeah, like I gotta get the KONG, man.
Yeah.
The KONG. I have to. Otherwise, I'm like.
Well, no, that actually makes sense because those stack. You have to get them all in a single run.
Yeah,
so
but
anything like that, yeah, obviously you got to get it.
Yeah, and then I don't know, like, I guess it also depends on, well, yeah, I think that's all I got for now. I mean, it's just,
No, that's cool.
I feel like it's like my OCD kicking in. Like, I don't even know if I have OCD, but I mean, if I do, like, that's it. Like, I need to be like almost perfect or perfect. So,
say, Sergio, you got anything else?
Yeah, it's a kind of a silly one, but for Zelda games, when I get to a dungeon, I ask myself, do I have enough time to beat the whole dungeon in one sitting? Because that's kind of my thing. It also makes more sense because you're familiar with it as you're going. So if I've been playing for too long and I'm honest to myself and I'm thinking, nah, I should probably just save, even though I want to keep playing more, but I just kind of force myself to play the dungeons in one sitting. I don't know if you guys do that.
Dude,
too.
I do the same thing.
Yeah.
Nice.
I can't. So I hate it when you're like really deep in a dungeon and you like save and restart or whatever, and you start back at the beginning of the dungeon.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
it's just you just gotta finish it. I mean,
It just breaks the flow so poorly. Like I hate that. So yeah, I'm the exact same way.
I am too. Like it's mentally, it's like a mental thing as well. Because like once you finish the dungeon and then you go out to outside, it's like like you can see the sunshine or the.
Well, yeah, there's a sense of accomplishment when you've just kind of run a dungeon, right? And it helps that all of the dungeons are kind of like the standard Zelda dungeon is like built on itself. So it's like little challenge, medium challenge, hard challenge, all built around kind of the same mechanics.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And if you break that in the middle, it just kills it. It just it's dead. Don't do that. Don't just do it in one shot.
Just there we go.
Nice. And going back to, like you said, for Smash Brothers, I kind of have one too. So this kind of, yeah, actually started on Smash Brothers for the Wii U, I guess, because this is the one that I played online the most.
Mm.
And sometimes it only applies when I'm fighting one on one. And if something weird happens kind of early on in the match and my opponent self-destructs like on accident, or there are times when you can tell that something happened because of lag or a bad connection, usually I prefer to self-destruct myself and kind of even things out. If I can tell that it was definitely an honest mistake,
Mm.
one time, if you guys remember, the game had bracket tournaments, and
Mm-hmm.
I played one with 64 players, and I made it to the final. I was fighting a Link, and very early on, he did a down stab into oblivion on accident, and he killed himself. And I said, you know what? I don't want to win like this. I'm gonna self-destruct, and we went on, and I ended up losing.
Oh
But
no.
Yeah. Oh. You,
but
you,
I felt like I did the right thing though.
you know what? That's actually called a homie stock
Yeah,
in
that's the
Smash.
homie
Yeah,
stock.
that's a homie stock.
Ah,
And, respect to you. That's awesome. I mean, even though you lost that game, I mean, like, you, it respect. I mean, that's
and you know what's super funny though? So as I was typing these notes, I realized that I don't do the homie stuck with my homie Danny. It-
Oh,
I don't know why,
yo,
but I'm probably
yo.
not going to.
That's
Oh
awesome.
man, and,
No
you know
mercy.
what? No mercy. And speaking of that, I do have one. Well, I do have one game in particular that I just go all out for, and have my own set of rules in terms of like the team that I use against. So in FIFA, especially back in FIFA 11, you know, a lot of the online players they would use like 5-star teams all the time. But
Mhm.
for me, I always try to use like 3-star teams or 3.5-star
Yeah.
teams, just to just to show like, hey, like, yo, you're going against a like a lower tier team. And if you lose, how you gonna feel about that? You know what I'm saying? Like, and like obviously the person can't hear me from the other side, but I was just like, like just really put myself up, like, yo, no mercy, I'm ready to go. You know
LA,
what I mean?
LA Galaxy versus the world.
Yeah, exactly. I actually, that's actually a good point. That's actually very accurate. I use
Yep.
LA Galaxy a lot, and I would go against teams like Barcelona, Arsenal, Manchester United, and
Just seems
I got my,
unfair.
I got my fair share of wins and some losses. But when you get those
Yeah.
2-1 wins or 1-0 wins, like, oh my gosh, or even like
Nice.
3-0, like the opponent just like
7-0.
rage, yeah, or just rage quits like in the middle. I'm like, hell yeah, like take it back with you. It's over because I'm the new sheriff in town,
Nice.
and I feel great. So it's just nice because then it's a nice challenge. You get to I think it makes you play better too because then you're a lot more conservative in certain parts of the game. You don't have your star players, but you're able to be more cohesive and figure out like, okay, well, I don't have the same high stat characters or excuse me players as the opponent does, but hey, like I'm just gonna work with what I have and do the and just take advantage of any sort of strategies I can employ because not everybody can use 5-star teams well. So that's
Very
all I
nice.
got. Mhm.
Nice. Awesome.
Okay, so it's time
Yes.
for some Smash Brothers rule sets. Hot off the
Ooh.
presses, just for you.
Yes.
These are some fun little rule sets and games you can play. First of all, don't know who posted this. I'm sorry, I'm stealing this off Reddit. One of my favorite new ones is called Don't Hit Isabel. And
Oh.
what it is, you put it on. So, however many players you have, let's say you have 4 people playing, you put it on 5-person Smash. And you put Isabel, a level 1 computer Isabel, as the 5th player. And the other 4, the 4 actual players just fight each other like normal. The catch here, though, is since Isabel is so adorable, if anybody hits her at any point in the match, they have to self-destruct.
Wow, that is pretty interesting. We should try that.
There you go. That's my favorite new one for Ultimate.
Nice.
A couple I really liked, even going back from Melee, and they're still fun. So on Hyrule Temple. Hyrule Temple has this little like underground cave area near the bottom that leads to some crazy caroms and rebounds and stuff
Yeah.
all in
Yeah.
there. So in this mode, it is a 4-player free-for-all. Everybody plays Captain Falcon, and everybody goes down to that little cave area and just fights like normal. But you can't leave that cave area. If you get knocked out of it, you got to get back there as soon as possible.
Mm.
And then the winner of the game, whoever that is, then switches to Ganondorf, who is very similar to Captain Falcon, but a little slower, and same thing. You just keep doing that with. If you get some good players doing that, it is. I can't even give it justice. It's hilarious because you got people flying and bouncing around everywhere. It's utter mayhem and exactly what Smash Brothers is supposed to be. So
Nice.
there's another one. Let's see another one. Oh, okay, go on Corneria. So you're standing on the back of the Great Fox,
Hmm.
and
Ooh.
the Great Fox has a little like lower tail area on the right side in that stage, and it's just like kind of cramped but kind of perfect for a one-on-one. So you set it up as a 4-player free for all, and 2 people stand on the upper wing, fin area, and then 2 people go down in the tail, and those 2 people down in the tail area battle it out, and they just fight. And if either of them gets sent over to the rest of the stage, the 2 people who are up on the main stage it's kind of like a lumberjack match in wrestling. They're forced to get that player back to the tail, and then it just works out. Whoever dies down there, then the first person up that's in the rest of the stage just jumps down there and continues the battle until you call that the gauntlet, and
Whoa.
it's until one person is left standing. By the way, when the game releases, I will play any of these modes with you. They are all hilarious.
Nice.
I'm down. Sign me up.
And then basically just some standard items rule sets. So realizing that items are actually kind of fun for sometimes, that you don't really want to take it too seriously, right? There's the classic of all bob-ombs on very high. That's excellent. That's a lot of fun. There's also my favorite rule set, if you're actually going to play somewhat seriously with items, is the number of players you have. Each person picks 1 item. So you can pick to turn on hammer or home run bat or hearts or whatever you want. But then it's not just the utter insanity of Smash Brothers. It's a little more driven, a little more strategic. It's a lot of fun. I actually played some tournaments in that, and it free for all matches with items, and it's fun. It seriously is.
Nice.
I didn't know there were tournaments for that. I've never played that mode before, where each person can choose an item. I mean, we definitely should try that.
Yeah. So, Smash Brothers was kind of the reasoning for this type of topic, so I definitely wanted to throw those out there. You guys have any like special Smash Bros. Rule sets you've ever played with, or want to add on to?
Honestly, not really. It's just, for me, it was just a lot of like all items or just no items, and usually it's no items because we're very competitive. So, but I think the things that you were talking about were pretty creative. We did try the whole, go into that area under Hyrule Castle, but we didn't use Captain Falcon. We just basically just said, "Hey, everyone, go down there, and we're just gonna fight it out, okay? And if you die, you have to go right back." So, just things like that. So, but I really do like the idea of what you said about the each person gets to choose an item and have that in a tournament format. I mean, I'm down to try that. So
it's still a little crazy, and it's still a little random for an actual like money on the line type thing. But it is a lot of fun if you get 4 people just looking out to have fun, and you don't want like all of the however many items there are in the game.
Right.
We're
Exactly,
in the dozens easily. Just limit them a little bit so that that you're only gonna have bob-ombs and star rods and Death Scythe, because why not?
One of my favorite items, even in Smash 64, was the lightsaber.
Yep.
Yeah, that was like, I mean, that was just classic. Like you can never go wrong with that. But yeah.
Sergio, you'd have anything?
Well, one of our listeners, Sonic King 917, he is a fan of it's like a tag team mode kind of. So basically, you play in the boxing ring and you play 2 versus 2 in teams, but only one of each is in the middle, and you're fighting. And if you decide to take a break, you go on the side of the stage and you taunt, and that tells your partner to go ahead and take your place.
That's wonderful.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's really fun, actually. Like, it was a lot of fun when we were playing that.
That's awesome.
We gotta
I
try
mean,
that. Yeah.
daily reminder that Smash is a fun game regardless of your level. So I know a lot of people out there are kind of feeling intimidated by this game because it's so huge and so competitive and awesome. But definitely just reach it on your own level, make your own fun rule sets. Please share them with us. I'd love to try them out with anybody. Let's be a little creative and also have some serious one-on-ones and things like that. But the more creativity and the more fun we can make this game, the better, in my opinion. So let's try for that.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate you saying that because especially with our Discord community, we want to foster that environment of being, and I think Dragon described it perfectly, casually competitive, but still have fun. I mean, it's important to be able to give each other the support and not feel like like, oh, I'm not good enough. You are good enough because at the end of the day, we're all just trying to have fun and get better at a game that we want to get better at. So especially with our Discord community, I think we're gonna definitely just make sure that everyone is comfortable and hope and have a little fire, obviously, a little bit of a competitive spirit. I think in each of us would be great. So I know I'm gonna be revving to go, but at the same time, try to make sure that everybody is energized too. So yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. With that, it's time for Fire Emblem. So guys, how do you play Fire Emblem?
Yo, it's only one way. There's only one way to play. Permadeath. I mean, well, okay, permadeath. But if you lose a character in the level, you got to start over. You can't. It doesn't matter. Even if you're about to win the round, like you got to start over. Like there's no exceptions. Okay, especially in the latter games like Fire Emblem Conquest. Like I want to ship certain people, you know what I mean? Like I need all the dialogue I can get, so I gotta have everyone survive. But oh my god, I let one slip. Like I forgot the character's name, but there was one level in the game
they were lost to history.
Yeah, basically, like there was one level where I would constantly play like I think at least 40 times.
Man.
Every time, and then like the second to last round before I beat the level, I just lost a lot. I think it was like a ninja or something. I was like, dang it! And then like I was telling my house, I was like, yo, dude, I gotta start over. And they're like, really? You've been playing this for hours? I'm like, all right, I'll just let it go. And then I realized later on that that person had some special dialogue that I can get a special character. I'm like, yeah. I don't want to get mad anymore. Like I'm good. Like this is like, and I'm not like Call of Duty mad. Just like more like irritated. Like oh gosh, like that's why I gotta play perfect. I mean, perfect to the point where, if you lose a character, you can't lose any characters, man. You cannot lose any characters because that is Fire Emblem. But in real life, I mean, come on, like, you just can't play life like that. So anyway,
what about you, Serge?
Same thing. I do the homemade permadeath. So I pick casual, but whenever I lose anyone, I restart. Except that one time in Awakening, I let some archer die. I don't even remember the name.
And they were lost to history.
Yeah, it wasn't even that late in the game. It was like towards the middle, but I'm like, fine. I don't even know that person.
But you could have known him or her.
Yeah, you're right. Oh my god, you're right.
Anyway,
gotta restart. No, I'm the filthy casual here, and I just I literally play it on casual, and if I lose somebody, if I lose like a lot of people, fine, I'll restart, just to obviously I did not win this map, right? But if I lose somebody to something stupid, I just move on, and they come back next round. And I understand all the hardcore Fire Emblem people are rolling their eyes at me right now. And so with that said, I'm going to make you guys a vow right here, right now. Fire Emblem Three Houses is coming out next year. When it comes out next year, I am doing actual classic mode. Like actual, no restart, move forward, accept consequences. I'm doing it.
Oh, you know what? Fork it. I'm going to do it too. I'm tired of being stressed out of this game.
I'm doing it. Well, I have a feeling it's going to make it more stressful. but
Yeah.
But I feel like your way. I mean, the way that you're describing it. I mean, because then like I don't want to spend like hours just playing one single level
no,
all the time. I mean, I feel like it's just like real life. Like if you make a mistake and you lose a character, or I guess in real life, if you make a mistake, you gotta be able to live with it and be able to own up to it and just move on. So
and
okay.
the games are honestly balanced for that. Like you get a
Yeah.
lot of characters, way more than you can ever use, and there's a lot of
Yes.
like
Yeah.
repeating character types that you never ever use. They go on your bench and just sit there. So the game is balanced for you to actually move through it and be losing some characters here and there. As sad as that is to say,
Yeah.
but no, I'm all in this next time. I'm all in on the emotional journey that is Fire Emblem.
All right,
Nice.
I'm gonna say that right now. I'm gonna make the same vow. I can't believe I'm saying this, but yeah, I'm gonna do it because I'm tired of just like I said, like I don't want to play the same level over and over again. That really killed my experience in Conquest because there were just there's certain levels where I just played over and over and over. So, but after I'm done with one playthrough, I do want to try to do.
Yeah. Then you do the
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
optimizing playthrough, and you actually see
Right.
how many stupid characters you can make and that kind of thing.
Right.
But no, I think my first playthrough is gonna be this: just get through the game and see how it goes type thing, and hopefully my entire army doesn't get slaughtered.
Yeah, no, it's,
Right.
we gotta knock on wood. Sergio, do you want us to join the join the camp?
Take the jump vow, man.
Okay, let's do it.
All right.
Yes! Oh, 3 out of 3. Man, that's
And
what
if
we
any
call
of
a
our
team.
listeners want to take the jump vow with us, what's wrong with you people? That's not the right way to play this game. Anyways, no, that's what we're doing. It's
Oh,
what we're doing.
We're doing it. We're doing
Yeah.
it. We're doing it.
And hopefully there's just ways to kind of grind if we feel like we need to, because I know one of the Conquest games, one of the Fates games, I'm sorry, it didn't really have that
No,
unless you
Conquest
bought
had
DLC.
Yeah,
Right.
I think Birthright was the one where you can actually grind at certain spots.
Yeah.
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 Conquest is just like straight up like brutal. Like, oh man. Like,
Yeah.
It was hard and it was wonderful for it. And then I brought this topic up with my wife, who reminded me that she used to play Pikmin with the Fire Emblem mindset of, if you lose a
Oh.
Pikmin,
Whoa.
one Pikmin dies, you restart. And honestly,
Man.
I can't remember if she actually beat the game or not, but she got super far in it, like
Oh,
like
wow.
impressively far without
That's
losing a single one. So
Very
Wow.
awesome. That's really
Man.
awesome. Yeah. I mean,
and that was Pikmin 3. But man, she'd get frustrated. Like just like one of them would run off into the water or something.
it's like, oh, I gotta restart. Like, oh man. Anyway.
So that's the hardest of core right
Wow.
there.
Okay.
All right,
Permadeath Pikmin.
permadeath Pikmin. Yeah, that's not the way to go.
PP.
And
Yeah.
speaking of replenishment, I mean, you get millions of those things, but hey,
Mm-hmm.
but they're precious and they make terrible little noises when they die. So I understand what she's doing. Okay, so where we are right now, I think we're gonna go to one listener mail for this week, and then save the other one for later.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
I'm gonna jump to mail from Shy Guy, who said, in the Get Good episode, everyone universally agrees you have to put a lot of time practicing. So if you have less time than most, is it best to just accept you'll be second rate? Ouch.
Oh, I mean, you know what? Can I start?
So
I mean,
I'm just gonna answer yes. Yes.
okay. Like, I'm just gonna say right now.
Just accept
And
it.
Just well, no, this is tough. This is tough because like as a competitor, you don't want to accept that you're second rate because then you're capping yourself at a point where you can never be number one. But at the same time, though, with your career and if you have a family, and just other priorities in your life, like you gotta think realistically. How much time can you spend on playing competitively? And I'm not saying settle at second rate, but just have like, and I'm gonna get back to this. Have these little goals that you set for yourself, so that you don't feel as bad when you lose, because we have careers, we have families, we have priorities in our lives to handle every day. I think that you should set small goals for yourself so that when when you do lose, you don't feel as bad because at least you did the little things that you set yourself to do. I'm not saying like says that you're the number one player in the world. Like in Mario Tennis Aces, like I made a commitment to get to at least the 2500 rating consistently in both standard and simple in singles, and which I did. And it's I feel like that gives me enough satisfaction to hold me over and not just feel like oh well, I'm not number one so I don't feel as great, or oh, I'm not in the top 100 in the world. Like I think it's just really you have to manage your expectations, and I think that that's the best way to handle it besides thinking that you're second rate, because I just hate that thought, because you're not second rate. You are, if you do put in the time and effort, you can be a good player. Obviously you don't have all the time in the world, but hey, at least like there are just certain like little small victories that you can get that you can talk about and just be proud of it. So I don't accept it. Do not accept it.
Right, right. I think the key here is that second rate is the key term. I would say that the wrong part of the question here, because even first rate, they even lose once in a while. So
Yeah,
Sure.
like you
exactly.
said, depending on how much time you're willing or you have, or even if you have the time but you're good enough with what you put in at the moment, that's good enough. And I think it comes back to the mindset. So my example is I stopped playing Splatoon 2 for Rocket League. I kind of switched over. And but I still play Splatoon 2, and my goal is to do my best and to have fun, and I do that. And I don't, I kind of, I'm 50-50 with wins and losses, but that's fine. I play to have fun, and you can always have a different mindset. Like if I put in less time, what can I do? What can I focus on? What's better for me to do? How am I going to get the most out of the time that I'm putting in? It's not being second rate, it's just having a different mindset and having a different approach from somebody that has more free time or is willing to put more free time into whatever game you're talking about.
hmm
Yeah, I mean, so regardless of where you are in your life, you are probably not going to dedicate the time that somebody else is going to dedicate to this game. And
Right,
whatever the game is, that's almost universally true. Like you're just not
right.
you're not going to do that, right? There are people who are going to play Rocket League or Smash or Splatoon or something for 9 hours a day, 7 days a week, and most of us just can't do that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
that said, it, definitely set your goal and set what you want to be. Like if your goal is to be the number one player in a game in the world, I mean, good luck. That is a very, very, very high goal and is probably going to be extremely difficult, to put it lightly. If your goal is to be a competitive player, like for example, Rocket League has tiers, so this is pretty easy. If your goal is to be a consistent platinum player, you can be a consistent platinum player playing, you know, a few hours a week. You don't have to devote a crazy amount of time to it. Yes, it may take you a little longer to actually get there, but you can still actually become a good player as long as you are practicing the correct ways, which is what we were trying to get into with the Get Good podcast. A lot of people kind of miss that, and so you have this other person just dumping hours and hours and hours and hours of time into it. If you practice smarter than that person, you may progress at the exact same rate as them, which
Yes.
if I'm in their shoes, I'm a little frustrated by that, but that's just that's what it is. So definitely set your goals, understand how to get better, what you want to be, what you need to work on, and then work on those things. And if you're in a situation where you have a good family life, and you have a life outside of video games that you actually enjoy spending time in, I mean, dude, congrats, that's awesome. like
Yeah.
like embrace that, and don't feel too bad about progressing maybe a little slower than certain people who may not have those outside things as much, right?
Right.
Yeah, because in the end, it's just a game, and you don't want to have the game dictate the way like, just dictate your life. And like, if you were to lose, like like a competitive match and then you just let your day be ruined by that. Like, don't let it do that. Like, I've had days like that before when I got super competitive, especially
sure.
over FIFA, or you know, even Pokemon at times. It's just, you know, in the very end, like you have your friends and family outside of the game, and they're gonna be there for you no matter what. And regardless if you win or lose, like you're still the same person, and you shouldn't be different because of a game, because of an outcome of a match.
Yeah. So bullet point list, the too long didn't listen version of this. No, you don't have to accept being second rate. You can actually improve, and if you practice the right way, you can actually improve at a better rate than a lot of people around you, which will kind of offset the
Mm-hmm.
timing differences. Two, don't take it way too seriously. Like, understand that if you do have enough of a life to kind of take you out of gaming, that's probably a good thing. So, take it as that and just accept where you are. Three, yeah, accept where you are, accept where you want to be, and just figure out how to work to get there. And that's kind of universal advice for gaming and everything else, actually. Like, if there is an end goal, figure out how to get there, and then set your plan out and just accomplish it. Don't think too much about, I'm not as good as XYZ. Who cares?
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, it's fun to be competitive. It's fun to be a good player, and actually be competitive. I'll say, in the case of Shy Guy, who actually asked the question, dude, he is competitive in a couple games that I play with him. So, I don't think you have anything to worry about, man.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Shy Guy, you're pretty good at Rocket League. So
And
and
Mario
just
Kart.
and Mario Kart. Well,
Oh yeah.
I want to see him. I want to play Shy Guy in Mario Kart one of these days because I heard he's really good. So, but yeah, I mean, like about Shy Guy, I've seen him like just improve like over like this year, even when I haven't played as much Rocket League. Just seeing his highlights on Twitter, and I'm like, yo, this guy's the real deal. Like, holy shoot, like. I mean,
And for all the talking about not having all that much time, dude, he's improved like crazy in a hurry too.
yeah,
So,
I,
anyways,
I- yeah.
anyways,
Nice.
Anyways,
No,
but
in one final closing thought is that you might not win all the time, but if you're having more fun than the person that keeps winning, to me that's the real win.
hey,
yeah,
can't argue with
just
that.
yeah, just remember, you don't want to win to have fun. You don't want to win to have fun. You just want to have fun and
Yeah.
hopefully win.
And if you stop having fun trying to win, then stop playing the game, at least for a little bit.
Yeah. Maybe a week or 2 days.
All right. Then that's going to do it for episode number 24 of the Nintendo Jump Podcast. If you do like the podcast, please let us know. You can write us at NintendoJumpPodcast@gmail.com with anything that you think about the show or any topics you want us to discuss. You can also please leave a review at your favorite podcast app. We really, really could use reviews to get out there and get more people listening. So as you can, that really does help us. If you want to actually chat with us, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at NintendoJump. We also have a Discord, which is actually very active now. So the Discord link will be in the show notes. We'd love to have you in there because we got a lot of really cool people talking. It's a friendly environment and a lot of people who want to play games together. So it's been a lot of fun for me personally. We also have a Facebook group. So if you prefer the Book of Faces, you definitely joined us over there too.
Yeah, especially the Discord group, especially when Smash is coming out. Like you're always gonna have
Yeah.
someone to play with, and I think it's just very important to note. And like pretty much everybody's super friendly, and we're just there to have fun and get good together. So
Yeah, and we've started doing things like Mario Kart Mondays, which we're missing right now, and other things that have actually gotten a lot of activity. Like we had a full set of racers last week, so it's been a lot of fun. But with that, we're actually going to jump on out of here. Once again, this is Daryl, and for Kevin and Sergio, thanks for listening.
Thanks everybody. Goodbye.
bye bye. Thank you.